Borobudur. 1,200 years old. 2,500 meters squared. Chichen Itza. 1,300 years old. Baalbek. Over 2,000 years old. Jarmo. Over 9,000 years old. Mohenjo-daro. Over 2,500 years old. 2,500 meters squared. Palmyra. Over 5,000 years old. Egypt's pyramids are said to be 5,500 years old. Mexico's around 3,000 years. And China's pyramid is thought to be over 8,000 years old. Teotihuacan. Estimated 2,000 years old. Tiwanaku. Also estimated 2,000 years. Keeping in mind, the carbon dating used to conclude these age estimates, are sometimes as obscure as using dates from an animal bone, or object, as stone itself, cannot be carbon dated. Humanoid bones on the other hand, show a different story. Remains of several different kinds of humanoid are showing up more and more, continuing to blow Darwin's evolutionary theory out of the water. This includes bone fragments and elongated skulls. Some were human and shaped from birth, others are naturally formed skulls that don't fit the DNA family tree of the known human species. Some of the found remains also include giant human leg bones and other indications of a giant species at some point in time. This 88,000-year-old finger bone found in Saudi Arabia dates over 20,000 years before the supposed Great Migration out of Africa. Found over 5,880 kilometers away from the Great Migration area. This 100-million-year-old fossilized finger found near Shanghai in China is more proof of previous living civilizations on this planet. Mainstream ignores these findings. There was another similar finding in Texas in the 80s, dating to the same era. All ignored by the mainstream, as they continue to teach the flawed evolutionary theory in schools. The Smithsonian's version of the human evolution timeline shows the timeline as the use of stones to open food and hunt emerged 2.6 million years ago. Fire control was established 800,000 years ago, leading through to 200,000 years ago where there was a rapid increase in brain size in humans, occurring through a period of dramatic climate change. Also claiming that 12,000 years ago agriculture, farming and landscaping developed. According to this theory, some of these artifacts shouldn't exist, as 300 million years ago, there were only pre-human ape-like beings. The African human jawbone found dates 290 million years before the evolutionary theory acknowledges a fire-using, humans-like ancestors' existence. The mainstream model of evolution completely ignores the reality that there are different species that don't relate to our own evolutionary family tree, and that the timelines we are given are completely obscure. The ancient structures we find around the world are dated from artifacts found in that area, completely ignoring the very real possibility that these relics are of the civilizations that came upon these great structures and settled there, thousands, or possibly millions of years after their construction. Worshipping the makers as gods and divine in all respects. This is reflected in some modern culture, as some religions are still attributed to different ancient structures around the world. Remains of several different kinds of humanoid are showing up more and more, continuing to blow Darwin's evolutionary theory out of the water, along with giant remains and even elongated skulls. Alongside this, there is evidence of a blue-eyed, fair-skinned, and possibly even blonde-haired version of the Egyptian race, seldom mentioned in the mainstream. Intriguingly, another fascinating find was a 300-million-year-old fossilized screw found in Russia, in 1990. The team inspecting it claimed to have X-rayed the fossil and found there to be another screw inside of it. But the Russian officials have not released any official information. Passed as a fossilized prehistoric sea creature in the mainstream, this could indicate an advanced species living on Earth over 300 million years ago. As seen here, there is a clear difference in the structures of the thread between the two. The screw fossil in question is more precise around the thread, like in the modern screw pictures, comparing these to these examples of the sea creatures, that have a wider and slightly more rounder structure. These sea creature examples were found in Israel, the screw was found in Russia. This is one of the many examples of legitimate finds that mainstream academia has swept under the rug as something it's not. We must stand up and demand disclosure on topics such as these, that have been hidden in academia's vaults since their discoveries. It makes you think of how much must have been destroyed over the centuries, due to mind frames unwilling to change or stubborn pride. It's up to you to make up your own mind. I only ask you look at all the evidence, and keep an open mind.